among teenagers sounds exciting or dangerous? I'm Simone Crutchley. Thank you for joining us. Mrs. Smith, the cook, has been with the school since it started in 1970. Hello, Mrs. Smith. Welcome to Rapping. Why have you stayed so long at Black River High School?
When I started in 1970, there were not much jobs around at the time, and I had a family to look about. So I stayed on, and doing 22 years this year, I thought much that I would rather stay until I retire here.
How has the school changed since 1970?
The school had changed a lot. The students, some of them are more intelligent. They are more, as you would say it, more polite and so forth. And they have achieved much more than in 1970. The school had grown a far way. Since 1970, we had a lot more students than before, and the students, they are progressing in sports and academically and so forth.
Mr. Ricardo Gale is the principal of Black River High School. Welcome to Rapping.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been a part of this school?
Well, I've actually been here since 1975. I started as a junior teacher through to the vice principal and then to this present position. Actually, I've been principal now for 2 years.
What is your view on dating among teenagers in schools?
Dating, rapping with them. You know, the parents should be able to see what kind of young man this is and what kind of young lady this is. And then from there, if they should go out, the parents should be able to say, well, you come back at such time, and you should not do other than this, or you know what I mean. So it has its advantages and disadvantages.
We run for,
Okay,
you know, shouldn't turn up. If you no get bully and I got, we run for, you know, shouldn't turn up. You smoke the dance, I get ready to stab you up. We run for, you know, shouldn't turn up. And man dance, you want to come mash up. All right, you know me turn up over there so one side. I'm seeing my pass me with a create tobacco. Girl start show talk back with police. Listen at me and me say, you want to. He say, yes, Mr. Alright, when me don't meet you. I one of them run past me like breeze. Me hear a girl start show talk, Lord G. I show me know she had a person teeth. We run for, you know shouldn't turn up. So if you no get bully for gun, but we run for, you know shouldn't turn up. So if the girl they no beat you up, we run for, you know shouldn't turn up. Look where the girl come and ya run, you don't get a hug up. We run for, you know shouldn't turn up. So your friend call everyone go, alright. You give me salt, but I've been got pepper. Bird and tiger will sit that time, but you give me salt, most I've been got pepper. And the guy sing back, that guy we run for. You know shouldn't turn up.
with me are head girl and head boy of Black River High School, Michael Palmer and Patricia Samuels. What are your views on dating among teenagers?
Well, my views on dating among teenagers, that dating can be encouraged. One, because dating help a teenager to be more mature. And a teenager wouldn't want to act childish for her date or his date to see. So this forces a teenager to become more mature and also to become acquainted with members of the opposite sex.
What are your views, Patricia?
Well, dating has its advantages and disadvantages in that many of the teenage pregnancies that are around are caused by dating, which started at an early age when girls just entering their teens are naive, as they will put it, and not ready for those things. The advantage is that it makes you more aware socially.
Do you date?
No, I don't.
Do you date?
Certainly I do. That's a vital part of my life, to show some form of maturity. It helped me to show maturity and responsibility, so I do date.
Should date, but their aim should be to go out and enjoy each other's company on a social basis rather than emotionally.
Yes, I think teenagers should go on date in order to understand more about life.
Teenagers should date, but they must be closely monitored. They must be properly attired before they left the house and have a specific time at which to return. They must keep the relationship on a strictly platonic level.
Yes, I think teenagers should date to an extent where it teaches them how to control a relationship in the later years.
Our topic today on Rapping is, should teenagers date? And if so, to what extent? To help us in our discussion are Mrs. Eugenie Baker, a social worker, Mrs. Murdell Grant, a guidance counselor, Father Vicar Swint, rector, St. John's Parish Church here in Black River. Welcome to Rapping. How would you define dating?
Dating is a social agreement or arrangement between two people of the opposite sex. Dating can take many forms. You can have couple dating or group dating. Dating can be quite casual, or at a later stage it can be a steady relationship.
I would like to advise that as much parental guidance as possible should be sought as youngsters go out for dating. And I would love to recommend too that group dating be put in place wherever possible. And sure enough, when they are young, that sort of a curfew on hour should be maintained.
Dating is when a boy meets a girl or a girl meets a boy and they like each other and they go out. We don't understand that dating can be a social thing, and it can also be an emotional thing.
Father Winter, why do you suggest that we teenagers should go out and group dating?
When people are not too sure about what other people will do, like your first dating per se, it adds a little amount of safety when three of you travel together. or 4 rather than just 2. And if it must be 2, imagine you have a third person with you. Feel that you have Jesus with you as the third person.
What about chaperones? How do you feel about being chaperone to a date?
I don't agree to have a chaperone because you won't get to know that person the real way, because he would put on this type of image, a different image to impress your mother or anybody who is chaperoning you.
When you date, you want to know the person better, you want to express yourself in the most way. But when somebody is there, you keep down your feelings. And maybe the person may see a different side of you from what you really are.
Do you think that dating affects the individual's schoolwork?
Yes and no. It's dependent on what they have in mind when they go dating. I think dating in the first instance is supposed to be that occasion that you use to just know each other. Like Father Wynn said, to fill that gap and so on. So if it is along this line, I don't think it should affect your studies that much. But there are others who go on dating for other reasons, because I am sort of getting the feeling that once you say dating, it has a sexual thing to it. And if at all we have that sexual thing to it, I'm almost certain, if we're not matured, if we don't have a serious sense of direction, we can get into serious trouble, and it's going to certainly, most certainly, affect our studies at school.
Any comments on that?
Why is it that most parents would not allow her daughter to go on the date, where he would give the guy a chance? Is it that they're being a bit overprotected of their daughter, or they cannot be trusted?
I think in most cases, it's that mothers on the whole, parents in general, tend to shelter their daughters, overprotect them, but they allow their sons to go anywhere. I don't think it is fair to the other people's girls, because we should think of our own girls who we want to protect. In some cases, it is because our daughters don't allow themselves to be trusted. So my advice to our teenagers is to make sure that your parents can trust you, and in that case they won't hesitate to send you on a date with someone who you think or who they think is worthwhile.
I think that parents on a whole need to be educated about what this whole dating system is, because most parents, when you talk about dating, they are looking at something emotional. And I want to direct this question to Ms. Grant. What do you think we need for the parents to be educated about dating, or for that trust to be there between parents and children?
I think it's more difficult to get to the parents. But like in our school situation or in our church groups where we have young people, then we can work through the young people by educating them so that they can realize that dating doesn't have to be a serious type of relationship where one is going steady and thinking of choosing a life partner. It can be very casual, as I said before. And in any case, both parties need to be able to react to the opposite sex, because if it eventually leads to marriage, then they need that prelude, that period where they need to be accustomed to each other, to members of the opposite sex, that they can relate to them.
Dating is an educational process. It helps you to develop certain interests in something you haven't known before.
What are some of the conditions that one should bear in mind when going out on a date?
You have to be prepared to face a question the guy might ask, like, can I kiss you? Can I, be alone all the time with you, or something like that? You have to be prepared for that.
I think a very serious condition for dating is that the boys have got, or the boys or boy in question has got to realize or have to realize that they are responsible both to the girl and to the parents of the girl that he or they are taking out on their date.
Group dating is important because, for instance, two persons goes out and, you know, they become emotional and they want to do something. If they're along with a group of persons, it won't happen or anything wrong won't go on.
I disagree totally because group as well can influence good and can influence bad.
One good advantage in dating that no one has mentioned here today is that if most couples had considered dating before marriage, there will be a less rate of divorces in the country.
I think teenagers should get a chance to go on dating because when they date from now as teenagers, when they get older, they'll know how to control a relationship.
Where is the best place to go when going out on a date?
The best place would be wherever it's considered safe, and like where you eat your ice cream, the ice cream shop could be a good place, or like I say, where you have your food, the restaurant could be a good place. If you're going on group though, I would say you could go to the beach, and the cinema is quite all right as well.
And I'd also want to think that it's dependent on what you want to get out of the date. Could be a football match because you want to see as many people as possible because you want to laugh, really laugh.
Yes.
You know, so it's dependent on what you want to get out of it.
Do you think that dating should be a topic that guidance counselors discuss in school, and if so, why?
Yes, not only guidance counselors. I think it is such a crucial matter because any teacher who has to deal with teenagers have to do a certain amount of counseling all the time. And because in school we are training our students to fit themselves into life, then we need to guide them because eventually we expect them to become husbands and wives. So we have to encourage them to date and date in the proper way because I think most of us have a misconception of dating. I think the general thing is that we are thinking of a steady relationship where a boy goes out with a girl and goes to some secluded area where they can do whatever they want to do by unmolested. And I think they need proper guidance from the very beginning so that when it reaches that serious stage, they'll know how to control themselves. And I think guidance counselors, teachers, parents, pastors, whoever, need to counsel our teenagers when it comes to a topic like that.
So to wrap up, we can conclude that dating does have its advantages and disadvantages. We'd like to thank our guests, and we'd like to thank the students of Black River High School. And thank you for watching Rapping.